Boogerman up against the boys. And you're exactly right there about the Slimy Boogerman, that if you're watching this stream, well, you should have already heard about the Slimy Boogerman by this point in time. These guys have been around the block and then some. They've been very much the next team up in terms of who's getting signed to a big org or something like that. They've been the next team up for quite some time now. They've been putting in the work, they've been putting in the results, now just looking very much like we spoke about Blahaj in the semifinals matchup. They're looking for that next step forward. This week number 50 of the Valorant Sunday Showdown is a great opportunity for them to show that they are worthy of that next step up, but in their way is quite a formidable foe in the form of the boys, featuring 4 of the 5 members of Akela Esports who have already been grand finals contenders, now once again back for more and up against Slimy Boogerman, who almost certainly have got something to prove here in this best of 3.
Yeah, both teams. I mean, when we talk about the map pool here from, the boys, we'll say. I was just about to say their other name, but, the boys, I mean, historically speaking, Ascent has definitely been one of their stronger maps, where we have noticed before, they play the most on that map, which makes a lot of sense. But even for them, like, it's almost like it's not even 50-50, but it's really, really close in terms of how well they do on their attacking side versus on their defensive side. So it's right down to the wire. Slimy Boogerman, not as much history, a bit of history, obviously, but now we're going to have to see how things pan out here. But the boys starting things off on the defense, Slimy Boogerman on the attacking. Things already getting really hot and ready to go. 4-1 split in favor now for Slimy Boogerman, Dilly.
Wow, they're wasting no time looking to take control of the A site here on this pistol round. Suya, though, right in their grill, takes down Intox with the shorty, the double tap, looking back for more. Blind fires won't be rewarded this time around, but an excellent start for the boys. And now Instinct looking to turn the tide. Satchel's out on the site, won't find a challenger this time around. Brando, ever the big brain Sova, backs away into heaven, waiting for the rest of the team to close in on the site. And it's a split approach here from the Boogerman. Welshi in mid there, taking a big challenge, gets the 1-for-1 trade, takes down Frosty there. So a 4v3 now. Make it a 4v2 here as the boys looking to keep their win streak from semifinals going. Could be a 12-round win streak. Suya on the triple kill, gets it done. Tetra on the double. And that is a very succinct pistol round for the boys.
The boys keeping things going. I mean, they are not going to slow down at all. We were talking about things being a little bit slow from them in that semifinal game, and then now full speed ahead. The fire is just completely going here on all cylinders, and now they pretty much have a flawless pistol round. Now Slimy Boogerman gonna have to just go for the light purchase here. We'll see most likely a lot of SMGs and the Spectres here for the defensive side of the boys. And now this is a good test. Slimy Boogerman, they can, just try to get the spike down, trying to build up a money situation if they can. But if they can pick up this round, oh boy, we're going down a big teeter-totter.
Absolutely. This could turn into a bare knuckles boxing match here, but Suya's not going to want to let that happen, rather. Suya picked up some big momentum in that semifinals match and has clearly carried it over here to the grand finals. Already on 3 kills, looking for number 4. He has to dash away from this confrontation as the door goes down and will be shredded down by the defenders. The attackers getting out on the site. Slimy Boogerman taking control here, getting the spike down. Can they hold control here with just these pistols? Tetra burns down Intog, and here comes the retake from the boys.
Retake fully commenced now. They're going to be pushing up through. Tech can be able to find it now. Just one remaining player, which is going to be Instinct, but he's going to fall. But this is exactly what they wanted. They needed to get the money situation built up, try to build up that economy if they can. They were able to take down just one player. Looking for a little bit more. Yeah, perfect world, that'd be the better situation. But you know what? Now they put themselves in a good spot as they're going to have lots of money. They're all over 4,300. And now they're going to be able to put full investment, so that most of them should have full armor. And then even their utility is going to be built up here as well. And the one thing that we didn't really mention is that both teams have Astra. We saw Frosty before, but now we can even see Welshi going to be using the Astra. So it's kind of a little Astra on Astra action.
Absolutely. There's going to be a lot of stars glancing around the map, and it may get a little tricky to kind of tell whose is whose, so we'll keep an eye on that for sure. Welshi and the side of Slimy Boogerman, they've left the spike well behind, and Tetra is going to look to punish them for it. Goes forward with the run it back, is taken out by the rival Phoenix. Intox picks up the kill on Brando, who's looking to support Tetra. Not successful that time around, and so for the first time in this grand final, Slimy Boogerman finding themselves an edge that they could capitalize on.
And this is now the moment. I mean, we can see boys going to be falling back a little bit here. They do lose one of their players quite early on. Slimy Boogerman, they're actually going to be now creeping their way towards A. So now the spike will get retrieved here from Astra, being all the way in the back of the pack, and that's exactly the right play here. So now they have that 3-2 split, but I'm going to be curious to see where the Phoenix and the Killjoy want to go. I mean, they could either try to make, a bit of noise in middle, which makes a little bit more attention there, or even group up. And right now it does look like they want to group up. So they're going to go for a 4-1 split. The Killjoy is just going to be that lurk, we'll call it, just watching the mid presence to catch the cap player off guard. And now you can already hear Dev going to have the drone out, going to scout things as much as possible. The boys have completely now ran back. They know that time is ticking and they have to commit to this. So Slimy Boogerman, time is the essence here.
Slimy Boogerman playing the mind games to great effect, but not effect great enough. The double kill coming in for Frosty and ZK combined. Frosty, ZK, and Tetra rather combined as Frosty picks up a double kill of their own. Dev puts him down, but the time ticking down for the attackers. Do they have time to get this spike plant? I don't know if it was procced in time. Oh, just by the slimmest of margins. The spike not able to connect in time, and that is 3 in a row for the boys. Carrying over from the semifinals, guys, that is a 15-round win streak for the boys into this grand finals. If that isn't momentum, heck, lads, I certainly don't know what is.
And that's the thing where some teams, they can excel really well, with the momentum after their previous match, or sometimes, they kind of let all the gas out of the tank right away. But right now, the boys, the rubbers are hitting the road and they're not stopping. I mean, and that's a big statement here because Slimy Boogerman, they're now a little bit on the backboard here because they're not really having the biggest investments. So statistically speaking, this should be around theoretically for the boys, but we saw that Slimy Boogerman, they were able to get into the site. They got the spike down, maybe pick up an extra frag or two. Can definitely be a little bit of a mini chef's kiss, we'll call it here, Dilly.
Just a little bit of finesse here. Tetra peeking around this corner. He's got an inkling of a problem around the corner. Does he know? Yes, Tetra puts down Hydra, but on the opposite side of the map. Oh gosh, Tetra actually picking up the double kill in mid there. Was 1 kill. Oh, for Welshi, make it 2. That's all Welshi will get, but that is big impact for the Astra with the Sheriff now. Only 2 members of Slimy Boogerman remaining here. The boys, falling victim to Intox on the backside, bringing us into this 2v2, and a dicey 2v2 it has been thus far here in this 4th round. The boys with the opportunity to keep their perfect round streak alive. Slimy Boogerman, they need to take this opportunity to just get themselves on the board, get the ground under their feet. Can they do it? They've got the spike down, they've got the showstopper in the pocket, and now they've got 2 defenders to deal with on the backside.
Both players here from the boys going to be pushing through this defender side spawn, so going to be using the turret to see if they can find anything. Bolt Intox going to be inside a boathouse, so both players, they have to play off of each other. It's a tight position to be in, and now it's going to be showstopper going to be activated here from Slimy Boogerman, which makes it a little bit more cautious here for the boys. Just waiting things out, waiting for the time. Gonna be able to fire it off, doesn't land the frag, but now the boys, they have to go for this. They have to commit to this now, or they're gonna need to fall back. They're able to find it, but no, the time is completely ticking. Instinct gonna be able to use this instincts, and now that's gonna be the round for Slimy Boogerman, even though Flya gets the triple. But now they finally put themselves on the board, 3-1, Dilly.
Wow, brilliantly played by Slimy Boogerman on the Thrifty, no less. Able to keep control of B site in the face of a daunting 2-man retake, and that is exactly what the doctor ordered for the Slimy Boogerman. Their mucus is out of control now as they look to start building the bankroll here. They've got the full armor, they've got the big guns on the side of the boys. Things are not as happy. The thing that is the X factor for the boys going into this round is almost certainly the Blade Storm in the hands of Suya. Suya has been a big talking point for the boys thus far in today's event. Suya looking to be the topic of conversation once more.
Joke's over!
Gonna be the run it back now, gonna be used. So a little bit of control now. So the Phoenix gonna just get intel, gonna just investigate as much as possible. That attacker lockdown gonna be used. So Suya able to find one with the knives, trying to bring a little bit more. Actually gets pushed back now. Doesn't have any opportunity to find anything. That gravity well, it's close, but it doesn't actually detain them. So they just miss it in time. They're completely getting pulled in. It's just gravity well after gravity well. And even Deb, he's trying to make something out of nothing here. He's in a tight position. He's got the spike in hand, and it's all just that. And it's going to be the boys once again pulling up a big, almost flawless round.
Laz, I gotta say it, and even though I hate to say it, I gotta say yikes here for the Slimy Boogerman.
Yeesh.
And the reason why I'm pulling the trigger on the yikes here, 5 rounds in, is that Slimy Boogerman have been banging their heads against the wall on this A site thus far to no avail. They can get out onto site, they can get themselves the real estate, but they cannot hold on in the face of the boys. The boys have been too succinct here on the A site, and you see the shift now from Slimy Boogerman over to the B side of the map to try and see if they'll have a bit more luck. But that Flya lockdown with the Killjoy kit on A site is too big of a barrier for the Slimy Boogerman to deal with this time around. They've got their focus more on the B side of the map this time. See if that pays better dividends.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Dilly. A little bit of a jeesh, you know? Like, I mean, it's Slimy Boogerman, you know, they were previously in this tournament. I mean, they were able to take the Pink Ponies down. I mean, 13-9 that they had previously. They're going to have to turn things up a little bit here. And already things are getting turned up. You know, Welshie able to find a nice frag. Not one of the players with the ultimates, but still going to be good. But Suya with a perfect timing, able to take down 2 more. So now putting themselves back in the advantage position. And the Slimy Boogerman, a little bit of a pinch, but even Deb able to get that frag. So now things are getting a little bit more interesting here. This is just chaotic.
Yeah, don't blink or you will miss a kill here in this matchup. That is so dangerous here. And I believe the only round that Slimy Boogerman have taken thus far in this match was off of a Thrifty. It would be hilarious if they kept that streak alive, only getting it done with the pistols, but they still have a lot of work on their hands here for this 6th round. The door shuts. Dev closing out that angle of a site is now here come the boys through heaven. Tetra's got to deal with that nano swarm. Can't get around it with the run it back, and now Instinct, it's all up to them, but Flya takes it down through the wall. The kill comes through for Frosty ZK. Intox finds one, won't find the next. Flya picks up the double kill, and while Slimy Boogerman are sending some waves over towards the boys surfing the waves, no problems.
Not a lot of flaws that we're seeing here from the boys. I mean, they're able to just kind of keep this lead going pretty convincingly. Slimy Boogerman, they seem to pull these rounds. They get in the sights. It's really just coming down to the post plant situation that we're noticing that it really does start to crumble a little bit. They're not just able to get those frags when they want to. But another gun round will be commenced here. No operators except for the hands of Suya. And Suya really just absolutely coming alive so far in this series. Able to just pick up that double. And now even having the op in a Jet's hands. And that's a dangerous recipe here, Dilly.
Absolutely. This was the turning point for Suya in the semifinals match, was when Suya got the op in their hands. But Suya in this grand finals is not in need of a turning point. Suya is looking for a pressure point to push on to Slimy Boogerman. That is very dangerous indeed for the mucus-covered males of the Slimy Boogerman. They're playing this one slow and steady. It was a bit of a spread approach, but you can see the cards starting to stack on the A side of the map here for the Slimy Boogerman, and Suya knocking the house of cards down with that opening shot. Suya feeling themselves here in this grand finals.
Love the positioning from Suya, just actually playing in the back of a wine cellar, but instead gets that first frag, but instead of just staying there and trying to go for a little bit more, actually goes back for the immediate setup here from the boys. So this is a good play. Getting that first exchange, playing things back. Gravity Well not going to actually pick up Stuya, but instead another chance to put this operator to work, but they're close on by. A bit of a pinch, but still able to make it work, and Flya able to help his teammate. Taking down the head of Hydra, and now 2 players remaining. This is looking bad. Oh no, but look at the Nano Swarm. It catches Welshie off guard. Completely eats him alive, and the boys, man, they're roasting here. They're roasting some Slimy Boogerman.
Welshie, my brother, my hand on your shoulder. I have been there, brother. Oh my goodness. I felt the twinge of pain in my heart having been stuck in that very same corner with the very same ability burning my little toesy woesies. That was brilliant from Flya and disastrous for the Slimy Boogerman. They are having a tough time getting going here in this opening half. The silver lining for the Slimy Boogerman, they've got 3 big ultimates on the board here. They've got the Showstopper, Hunter's Fury, and the Lockdown, don't forget it. But on the side of the boys, the ultimates are looking just as good. They've got that big old galactic wall from the side of Frosty ZK that can almost certainly slice that map in half at a moment's notice. We'll see how Slimy Boogerman play around that. Can they play around Suya with this operator? Already 2 kills to their name. Ooh, almost finds the third, not quick enough on the flick. That time around, Suya now getting backed into the corner from the push here from Slimy Boogerman. Less than a minute remains.
Now going to be using the lockdown here from the defending side. So the boys, they know that Slimy Boogerman were trying to get in this site. They're taking a little bit too long. So with them using this now, they're going to completely have to fall back on this plan. No player is going to be detained, but they've completely advanced that spike into an entirely new position. No space given at all here at the A site, but now the space is definitely being given a little bit here at the B, but now the lockdown going to be used from the attacking side. It's just lockdowns after lockdowns. And look at the Suya trying to go for a little bit more blood hungry, trying to find it, makes it finally on the connection. Spike still not planted here, Dylan.
Yeah, the Slimy Boogerman trying to pull a little trick here over the heads here of the boys, but the boys simply not falling for the prank here. Still 5 members remaining. Suya still with daggers in hand, and that is the wall coming in from Frosty ZK, sealing off that back of sight. It's not even gonna matter this time around. Dev gets the headshot onto Brando, but there's not much more in it for the Slimy Boogerman. That is a 7th round in the hands of the boys, and I gotta say, at the beginning of this of my casting block, if you will, in semifinals, I talked about the boys as a pug team. While that is technically true, this is not a pug team in terms of how they are playing, in terms of how they are approaching this match. They are approaching this match with cold, calculated perfection from the boys, and thus far, if you're the Slimy Boogerman, I'm not sure what the answer is for you.
A lot of decisions to be made here from Slimy Boogerman. Now we have 3 ultimates available to run it back so they can use Hydra to get that information, try to get into the site right away, maybe see if he can get some intel, investigate a little bit. They do have the Showstopper, which could be used just to, like, you know, taking underneath of A tower. We'll have to see, but they're actually going to be able to push into the site. Run it back going to be used. Now we actually do hear it is going to be activated, so they go exactly for it. Instinct still holding on to it, but just gonna shoot into nothing. But that does push the boys back. Spike should be planted, but Hunter's Fury now gonna be used from both sides here. Not gonna be able to make this connection. Does actually make it Brando, but the spike is gonna go down. But that's a double frag now, and Slimy Boogerman, they're losing bodies quick.
Brando, goodness gracious, what a gangster, but Hydra ain't done yet. Hydra's still fighting, almost finds the triple, but it's Brando picking up the triple instead. Now Intox up in a 1v3, gets mowed down for the quadra kill of Brando. Brando, an absolute gangster here on Ascent, picking up the double kill with the Hunter's Fury through the walls, no less. And I mean, if you want to look for a 1-for-1 Sova comparison, you want to see how effective the Hunter's Furies were. Well, Brando certainly taking the dub in that category in that 9th round.
Absolutely critical. And I mean, the fact that Brando, like you were just mentioning, being able to pick up 2 frags, the spike did just get planted, but you can catch both those players completely off. So their positioning as the post-plant situation, like we were talking about with Slimy Boogerman, that's been their biggest kryptonite at this moment. And the boys, they've just been able to excel on this. It's been absolute masterclass. Gravity well going to be used, and has to be Suya, though, again, makes that opening pick. So this is a good start here for the boys. And now they've lost one of their duelists here on the Slimy Boogerman side. They have the utility, they have the Cosmic Divide available, but they're going to need to make something big happen here quickly. But even now, 21 HP, Dilly. Well, she's taking significant damage.
Yikes, the tab keeps growing here for Slimy Boogerman. They've got to pay more and more if they want to take the fight to the boys, and the boys just keep piling on the expenses here, taking away the armor of Welshie there, taking away the lives of Intox and Instinct. Already for this force buy, it was an expensive situation for the Slimy Boogerman, and as I said, the bill keeps tallying higher. You saw there, Slimy Boogerman did try to make an adjustment to what Suya's been throwing at them in that A-long corridor. They sent out the gravity well to Suya's positioning, trying to pull him off of where he was setting up, trying to pull him into a bit of a trap. Suya simply did not fall for it and still found that opening kill, and now look, Maya absolutely decimating the attack for Slimy Boogerman. There's simply no hope in it on this first half for Slimy Boogerman.
It just seems like the firepower that we've seen from Slimy Boogerman is just not engaged. It's not activated yet, but instead the boys, they're just coming in full steam ahead. They're able to just pick up these rounds, and that's a flawless round, to say the least. That's a yeesh. Yeah, that's a yeesh. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, look at the money. 9K, 8,300. This is going to be the replay, and this is what you were talking about. The fact that he's able to get the spike down, able to go for 2 big frags, completely catches them in the funnel, and Slimy Boogerman, it's looking a little bit grim for them.
Grim indeed. There's simply no other way to describe an 8-round deficit this early on in the series. Slimy Boogerman, not only have they got to try and find the switch for their mentality here in this match, they've got to find the switch for their mentality here in this series. The Valorant Sunday Showdown is all about mental fortitude. It's all about mental stamina. Who can stay on that top level of performance for the longest here in the grand finals? Thus far, the boys showing no problems keeping that pace up, keeping up the intensity. The Slimy Boogerman running out of gas in the tank to try and respond to the absolute fragging power that the boys are bringing to the table. We'll see if the Slimy Boogerman can try and find a second win, but I don't feel that there is a second wind in this round as the bodies drop across the map for the Slimy Boogerman.
Brando just getting a little bit cheeky, just spamming the corner of the wall, but we'll be able to find that frag. So now the boys have put themselves at double digits in the first half. We're in the last round of this first half, and I mean, right now for Slimy Boogerman, if they can pull this back, definitely be a nice start for them transitioning into that second. But I mean, if we get the boys to picking up this round, I mean, that's only going to be 2 rounds away for these guys to take map number 1 pretty convincingly.
Yeah, absolutely. That would put the boys at 11-1. And in my many storied years of Valorant casting here, I've only seen one, count them, 11-1 comeback in all of that time. So I would certainly be excited to see another, and that may be what is asked here of Slimy Boogerman. If they can't convert this final round, the first half here in grand finals, VSS week number 50, Brando letting the Odin rip, finds the kill on the Hydra. Nothing doing for Slimy Boogerman, and now once again a 4v5.
4 versus 5 situation in talks. Killjoy gonna maybe be a little bit of an entry. We've seen it before. Maybe we'll see it again. Spike actually going to be dropped all the way in the back. So they haven't really made a commitment to this. They lost their Phoenix. They still have the Cosmic Divide available. And this is now the round to use it. They're going to have to burn this last ultimate that they have activated or ready to go. You can already see the boys ready to go. They have 3 players that are in this B site. So it actually will be Intox. He's going to fall. So Brando able to pick up his second frag now. But instead, they're going to be able to fall back. They're going to try to go for this A hit once again. They've had success there before. They're going to try to go for it once again. Dev, he's so far behind from his teammates already, Dilly.
Absolutely, there is a mountain to climb here, and Suya making it that much more steeper of a trek here. Instinct finding some life, finding some fight, takes down Suya. Frosty ZK there for the backup. Dev waits out the lockdown and now pushes. Gets taken out by Tetra. That is the boys putting the bow on their, oh gosh, I've got to stop and count, their 8-round win streak to close out the half. The only silver lining for Slimy Boogerman is that they did break up the win streak for the boys from semifinals, but I almost feel I'm reaching for statistics at that point.
It's hard not to. I mean, at this point now, I mean, the boys are 2 rounds away from taking this map home. Like we talked about, the boys have a lot of experience playing on Ascent, where I'm not saying Slimy Boogerman don't, but we're definitely noticing the comfortability from the boys, and even just them pulling up a big game before. I mean, I think we just saw one of their players. I don't even think he's fallen yet from the boys. Did I just see 16 and 0? Am I blind?
That would be Flya, the immortal Flya, if you will. 16-0-6. Yeah, that's actually something that's gone completely under my radar, is Flya is immortal. Simply unkillable. And for Slimy Boogerman, I have to say that very well could be a point of frustration that's kind of a thorn in their side mentally. Meanwhile, Suya does get the 1-for-1 trade, takes down Intox, loses out there to Dev. A 4v4 now, equal footing. Dev, looking to turn the tides here, gets the double kill, picks up Tetra, but Frosty ZK right around the corner with the help of that turret, takes down Dev. And Slimy Boogerman's trying to push forward here onto this angle, but that was the wrong call to make. The aggressive defense not paying off this time around. It's a 3 versus 1 favoring the boys. This is the boys 1 kill away, 1 successful spike plant away from game point.
All down to this, 1 player remaining from the Slimy Boogerman. The Rays,
on the wrong side of the map.
On the wrong area to be, the wrong read. But the little thing to notice, or not so little, but the one thing to notice here is that 2 of the players from the boys, they're very low on the HP. So if Instinct can get the right timing and pick up these frags, and if the boys kind of play this a little bit carelessly, this is an opportunity that this is absolutely winnable. Being able to take down these 2 players is definitely not unheard of, but there's no utility, so this is all reliance on the firepower and solely aim here from Instinct.
Oh, and what a brutal recon bolt as well, revealing Instinct there. That is brilliant stuff from Brando, who's been absolutely on point. Instinct gets the first kill. Can they find the second? Yes, Instinct gets the second kill. 1 HP. The paint shells go out. Brando has to dance away from that as the clock ticks down. Brando puts Instinct down, but goodness gracious, what an effort from Instinct nonetheless. That is the boys moving out onto game point here for game 1 of the grand finals Valorant Sunday Showdown, week number 50. It's the big 5-0 and the boys firmly in the driver's seat.
That clutch could have absolutely changed the pace here for Slimy Boogerman. That could have been what they needed, you know, just getting that big play, getting a little bit of momentum back on their side, you know. But now, I mean, the fact that they aren't able to, it's unfortunate. But like I said, definitely was doable. And now you're seeing they're just forcing up whatever they can. And now the boys, if they just need to pull 1 more round through, so it is a best of 3 like we said in the grand finals. They need to make sure that they still play this well composed. They don't want to be too quick on the trigger yet, but they're going to be able to get that orb control through B main, but which will be a good benefit to them, getting closer and closer to building up the ult if they can. But Textra actually going to be able to find that frag onto the Killjoy, so any sort of pushback on utility is now depleted. Well, she able to find one, and that's all he's going to look for. Dev tries to make something with the pistol, and he finally does. A nice little headshot coming in here, so we're back to a 3-3 playing field.
This is good news for the Slimy Boogermen, and they haven't been recipients of good news in quite some time, so they're gonna have to grasp onto it with all their might. Instinct puts down Suya. Another small victory for the Slimy Boogerman. Instinct, they're pulled by the gravity well. That's gonna offset their aim and have them lose out to Brando. Hydra, though, finds the trade onto Brando, bringing us into this 1v2. Frosty ZK looking to seal the deal here in game 1 for the boys, going up against Dev, going up against Hydra. Hydra backed away into this quarter now, smoked out by Frosty ZK. He's gonna have to wait for Dev, sending out the recon bolt. Doesn't have to wait for that. Dev pulls the trigger, takes down Frosty ZK. Slimy Boogerman staying alive in game 1.
Bit of a survival. 12-2, so the boys still on the match point, so a long road. 10 rounds in a row we're gonna need to see from Slimy Boogerman. We're going to see their money situation now. They're going to be able to have a little bit more that they can just force into the Spectres. They should be able to get their utility built up as well. But now, again, this is all the pressure for them. So the boys, they aren't able to have enough funds for a full purchase here. So this allows Slimy Boogerman, they might be able to creep this round. And again, slowly and surely, we'll have to see. But we have definitely seen the boys when they get those sheriffs in hand.
Oh yes, the boys are no stranger to a thrifty round win. And I have to say, something you touched on a couple rounds ago is maybe coming true already, is that the boys need to be very careful and very conscious in this moment to not take their foot off the gas too early. This is a trap we've seen teams fall into time and time again. Think about it. We've been here for 50 whole weeks of the Valorant Sunday Showdown. We've been around the block a couple times. Instinct with the judge picking up the double kill, showing that wealth of experience. That's very well going to be a third round going the way of Slimy Boogerman. And the boys, they need to batten down the hatches, especially now more than ever, because if they take their foot off the gas, if they start to let momentum slip over to the Slimy Boogerman, they very well may not be able to grab it back. So this is very crucial for the boys. Can they show that little bit of extra polish here? Well, she gets the job done onto Frosty ZK. That's the third round over to Slimy Boogerman, and now this is a pivotal round for the boys, though the scoreline may not tell it. This is a round that the boys need to put away to silence any doubts that they don't have what it takes to carry this series all the distance.
Yeah. Recalling my body.
And now we've definitely seen teams in the highest level. I mean, when they're on the cusp of, you know, the match point and pushing themselves over, I'm going to keep them nameless for their sake. But I mean, we've definitely seen it before, and this is now where we can't talk about a comeback at this moment, but there is a lot more pressure here for the boys. They need to make sure that they don't get, you know, a bit of too egregious. But look at that. It is going to be Suya. So the big fragger from this squad actually falls immediately. So Instinct, using his proper instincts, he's able to get this frag. So now this is a good start from Slimy Boogerman, something we didn't see before. And they're completely pushed up in B main. One player going to be on the opposite side of market. So this is now a lot of control here for Slimy Boogerman, but Instinct now falls immediately. Well, she needs to be careful, but that's Flya. He's only able to take down one. A little bit of a trade situation, but back to an even score we go.
Oh man, massive credit to Hydra there. If Hydra hadn't gotten that kill back, this is an entirely different round for the Slimy Boogerman. But as it is, they've got the 3v2 advantage. Brando on the hunt here. That could be the thorn in Slimy Boogerman's side for the 16th round. They're completely unaware of Brando's positioning here. Dev, if Brando peeks around that corner, we'll see if Dev has the speed on the flick to take him out. Intox, the lone defender here on A site, has the help of those little robots that Killjoy brings to the table. Spots out Frosty with that turret. Now Frosty on the push gets taken out by Intox. Certainly did not expect Intox to be there. And now Intox looking for the double kill, finds big damage onto Brando. Brando just ducking, dodging, diving away from the bullets, takes down Intox. Now a 1v1 as the clock ticks down. Hydra burns down Brando, getting the revenge in that round. 2 hot hands kills for our 2 Phoenixes in the match, and a 4th round over to the Slimy Boogerman.
This is where the frustration can build a little bit here. So Slimy Boogerman still, you know, putting up the fight. The gloves are definitely still on, but they're swinging every single direction they can. And I mean, right now the boys, again, their money situation, not going to have enough to go for this. So when we talk about it, I mean, this is an opportunity for Slimy Boogerman to pull up another round. And then the next round after this would be the big test again with the rifles. So the boys gonna have the 4-1 split, so gonna just get that A main control as much as possible. Hunter's Fury gonna be used here. Oh, Brando, he's actually done some damage. Almost able to get another, and he does actually land it in perfect timing. Finds it, so now they're gonna be able to use the run it back. They have so many ultimates available to get in this site, and now Slimy Boogerman, they're just down to 3 players. They have the Hunter's Fury, they have the run it back. They need to burn it at this moment.
Yeah, Brando, man, as soon as they get the Hunter's Fury in the pocket, that is nearly a guaranteed kill for the boys. That this round being no different, and Flya puts down the lockdown for good measure. The odds worsening here for Slimy Boogerman as the clock ticks down. The spike is down. Hydra burns the run it back to near no avail, only getting intel there. Suya in hell pops the Blade Storm, takes down Dev. Oh, finds the double kill. All kinds of knife kills here, but what? Oh my gosh, Welsh picks up the double kill and falls to the Phantom, nearly falls to the knives there of Suya, and what a firecracker of an ending to what was a daunting match for the Slimy Boogerman. They get themselves a bit of a silver lining there in the end, but the story thus far, it's all about the boys simply taking control of the map early on and not relinquishing till the very end. That was a succinct game one from the boys, and should game two follow suit, that certainly spells bad news for the Slimy Boogerman.
My goodness. I mean, now we're going to see this replay. So this is right down onto the last round, and Suya just stuck right underneath, gets the knives, pops out, finds it, and look at that player detained. Two players detained. He gets the headshot with the knife, and even Welsh able to find 2 frags, but it doesn't matter. Almost gets a second knife. What a huge round and great fashion that we saw from the boys. And I was kind of talking about their money situation not being so good, but you know what? They wanted to prove me wrong and used every single ultimate and just put it to absolute work. So the boys going to be able to take 1 map away already in this best of 3.
Absolutely. We talked about maybe the boys taking their foot off the gas a little too soon, but now in retrospect, I think the boys were kind of just biding their time, if you will, letting that alt economy swell up under their feet and then just pulling the trigger, detonating the bomb of all of those ultimates, taking the win here on game 1, map 1 of Ascent. We are quickly moving our way onto map 2, game 2. We're going to give these teams just a couple minutes break, catch their breath, and we'll be right back with game 2. Stick around. You definitely don't want to miss it. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the grand finals of the Valorant Sunday Showdown, week number 50, the big 5-0. We just had a cracker of a game one here. Slimy Boogerman up against the boys taking ascent in commanding fashion. I'm Dilly G, joined by the illustrious Laz alongside me. Laz, if you're in the driver's seat for Slimy Boogerman, what are you looking to change up here for map 2? It was oppressively hot from the side of the boys. They really did not relent there until the closing rounds of the game, where they slipped up just a bit, gave a few rounds over to the side of the Slimy Boogerman before completely shutting the door on game one. For Slimy Boogerman, they've got to delete game one from their memories. This has to be game one for the Slimy Boogerman. They've got to take 2 right in a row here if they want to take home this ever important week number 50 grand finals title. Would be such a nice little feather in the cap of any squad, and certainly Slimy Boogerman will feel that they are deserving of that spot, having been around the block, having been around the scene for so long. As we touched on before this series got started, Slimy Boogerman have been next up for quite a long time, and they want to take that step up more than anything. This very well could be their opportunity, but the boys have certainly posed a challenging fight in front of them.
And like we said, one of the things we definitely noticed before from this squad is that, they had a really slow start, and then they just seemed to keep swinging. Gloves were off, no more Mr. Nice Guy, and then that's where they were just able to prevail so well. So I'm curious if we're going to see that, same mentality, or if they're going to just kind of be able to start things off like they did on map number 1 of this best of 3, because that's, that was a bit of a statement as well, because we were not expecting that. And the fact that they just played this map definitely gives them the slighter edge, in my opinion.
Absolutely does. And so we are wasting no time getting right into the action. It is Slimy Boogerman starting out on defense here on Haven, which, as we know from experience, can be an even tougher task than just playing the boys straight up, is playing them as the defenders on Haven. The boys know their way around this map. They know how to work those pressure points, pull the defenders out of their comfort zone. And so Slimy Boogerman slinking away into the shadows, trying to play as passively as they can for this opening pistol round here. It is all of their resources stacked up towards the B and C sides, but they haven't found anything there. So that's 3 members of the defenders greeting the attackers here on A.
It's a big party. We're going to see, are they invited? And already it's looking like a little bit of contention here. So even Suya going to push on through, not able to make these shots. A second reload hopefully will do. Bullets are completely depleting quickly. Tector going to be able to land that frag, so Slimy Boogerman already lose 2 of their players. They have Astra available. They still could burn it. Hydra going to be able to use this Aftershock properly. Actually lands a really good position of it. It will not make the frag, but it does some great damage, and now all just down to 2. Intox able to find another, making it a triple, and all of a sudden things completely changing around. Intox looking for more. This is going to be the ace clutch. Cypher on Cypher action. Flya just needs to stay alive. Burn that time. Burn the clock, and you can see now it's just looking a little bit dire here. What on earth is going on, Dilly G?
Intox on the cusp of glory, but if there's anyone who is tough to kill, it's gonna be Flya. I believe only dropping 1 or 2 deaths in the previous game. Flya had 0 deaths for nearly an entire half last game, so of course Flya isn't gonna drop down just to a pistol round, keeping that 0 intact here for game 2 in the face of a potential Intox ace. That was seriously impressive from the Slimy Boogerman, but it just goes to show the boys, they are ready to weather any and all storms here. Can they continue that nearly perfect streak that they've had going since semifinals? Thus far, the answer looks to be yes, and now they've got big firepower advantage over the Slimy Boogerman going into the second round. Will
Now B, well, she gonna be a little bit of a peekaboo, gets that first frag, got the frenzy. Think for a little bit more. Brando able to take down the other teammates. So now they still know that Welshie was one of those players that was close on by. So they are realizing that 2 players were going to be in garage. So the boys now shifting their plan, going to be making a little bit more of an adjustment here. Lots of utilities still at their disposal that they can make of. Slimy Boogerman, at this point, they just want to try to go for the gamble. They're going to try to see what they can find, but they're going to gamble a little bit here on A. Flya, he's been making some noise. We can already see, look at this, they're actually going through A link. Tetra able to get 1, able to get 2 now. So they're doing a little bit of a pinch here on these players, and both of them, one of them's going to be on top of A tower, the other coming from spawn side. They might not expect him here, Dilly.
That was tricky from Instinct there. It's so close to landing some of those shots, but it wasn't meant to be for the side of the Slimy Boogerman. And the boys taking a clean 2-0. And as I look at how they're moving around the map, I have to ask the question once more, is are we getting a little glimpse maybe into the Akella Esports playbook? As you can see, 4 of these 5 members of the boys are usually repping that Akella Esports banner. Suya being the only variable for this lineup. So are we getting a bit of insight here into how the boys will be playing with their title team? Certainly feels like it, as so far the Slimy Boogerman tactically have had a really tough time dealing with the boys, not just on Ascent, but here on Haven as well thus far. And it looks very, very succinct coming in from the boys. We'll see if Slimy Boogerman can find a way to stabilize them here with this full buy. Suya dashes right into the waiting clutches of Hydra, and Welshie there for the backup picks up the kill onto Tetra. This looks to be the boys getting on the board, but not if Flya has something to say about it. Takes down Instinct on the opposite side. Dev now looking to take the fight. Can't get it done. Frosty's EK brings us into the 3v3.
Looking at Dev, that was such an important position for him to be in. He was the only player that was close on by in this A site, so he absolutely needed to pick up that frag. So for him not to, allows the boys now to just get into this site and get in the proper positions they need to, making this even a little bit more difficult. Look at this, Frosty being a little bit more ice cold in the veins, goes for a bit of an aggression. You don't expect it that early on, and already now 2 players remaining. Astra completely lit here from the defensive side. Intox needs to land some frags. He's able to catch Frosty now, bringing it back to an even playing field. 2-2. Now Welshie going to be creeping on through. 19 HP, needs to find this camera, going to get the location, but Flya's going to be able to, and Welshie now brings it back to the 1-1, but no, Flya able to bring the triple, bringing it a 3-0. Comes right down to the wire.
You know, Flya may be radiant, but I would call him immortal. Flya, simply unkillable here in these grand finals. Not gonna drop a death there, certainly. Instead, picks up the triple kill, picks up the round for the boys in the face of the full buy for Slimy Boogerman, despite the firepower disparity. And that is bad news bears for the Slimy Boogerman. Every round on this first half is so vital for the Slimy Boogerman. They are already disadvantaged being on the defending side. They need to just keep things even, keep things respectable. But the boys, they've got no interest in respect. They've got no interest in keeping even. Their only interest is cold, hard cash. They are looking to take home the lion's share of that $1,000 on the line. And so far, they are cruising on their way towards it.
Ooh, Instinct with a nice shot. Actually denies the play here from the Phoenix, so instead the boys now are going to just take a back step, you know, take a breather. They got lots of time, so they're actually going to reposition themselves. They have plenty of utility to watch for the A main push, as well as now they're going to actually just creep their way into long C. So now going to go back to what we saw before. This is where, you know, they put a lot of contention in their first semifinal game, and now they're going to go for it again. Cosmic Divide going to be used. Gravity Well going to bring Intox in as well. He's caught in a bit of a hard place, but the Cyber Cage blocks off the vision, but it doesn't matter. Suya picking up a double. And now, all just down to 2 remaining players here. They're just going to run right through this Cosmic Divide, try to make something happen. Dev finding 1, Dev finding 2, trying to look for 3, but no, it's going to be the boys that are going to keep things undefeated 4-0.
Man, the Slimy Boogerman, the descriptor for the Slimy Boogerman in this grand finals thus far, from my point of view, has been moments of brilliance. It's just moments, though. It's not continued, you know, swaths of success. It's not continued you know, progress forward. Slimy Boogerman showing their talent, showing what they're capable of, but they're simply crumpling under the pressure that the boys are applying across the map. And again, the answer for Slimy Boogerman, it's not just one simple answer of they need to win trades here or not peak here. It's a complete overhaul of what the boys are bringing to the table. The Slimy Boogerman may not have an answer. Does anyone have an answer? That is the question we'll be asking here. Is the Slimy Boogerman facing down the many ultimates of the boys here. Brando doing big damage with the Hunter's Fury, but it is going to be Welshie taking down Flya, bringing us here into this 4v4 as the clock ticks down towards a minute.
Look at how much utility that they burn, the boys. They know that one of the players is close on by. Welshie having the ultimate available, the only ultimate here from Slimy Boogerman, still has utility that she could burn, but Tektra actually finds the head, trying to be a little bit of a sneaky member, but not able to make it work. Now back to a 4-on-3 situation. The boys, they do have full control of this. This is fruitful picking. They can go anywhere they want at this moment. C is completely up for grabs. Cypher, the only player that's close on by. The last two remaining players here from Slimy Boogerman, they're going for a bit of a gamble. That's exactly what they have to do at this moment here, Dilly.
Hydra here takes the fight with Brando. Dev, though, on the opposite side here, takes down Tetra. 3v3. Intox, oh, may have gone undetected. Could bring in the backstab if Brando isn't quick enough. Oh, Intox caught with the knife out at the exact wrong moment. That's going to spell Brando's escape. Will find big damage onto Brando, but now Brando's got the turnaround to try and take the challenge, but says, tail in between the legs. I'm just getting the heck on out of here. The spike is down for the boys, but it's a 2v2. Health bars looking dicey on either sides. This could go either way. Still, Brando and Flya holding down A site. Brando, only 9 HP remaining, sends out the recon bolt, won't spot anybody else, has to back away behind these boxes. Here comes the push. Hydra with the flash. It doesn't freaking matter. Hydra gets taken out by Brando. Intox finds the trade now. Frosty and Intox in the 1v1. Intox touches the spike, holding the spike. Oh, Frosty thinks it's a fake. Oh, and just in the nick of time, Frosty peeks just perfectly, takes down Intox. The right idea, I have to say, from Intox. Just a moment difference is all it would have made.
The adversity and, you know, tenacity we're seeing from, you know, the boys here. I mean, we see Slimy Boogerman, and I definitely agree with you, Dilly. I mean, that we see these moments where they come so close to getting that round on the board. They seem to have the right things, the right plays, but it comes right down to those, you know, critical moments, the clutch situations, and this is where the boys have been absolutely excelling, just cooking with gas. And now Slimy Boogerman, once again, tight on the money situation, so they're not going to really have a lot that they can work with in terms of inventory, but they do have 3 ultimates available at their disposal, so this can now really turn the tides a little bit here and push back these boys.
Boys now, they were looking, I think, to spill out onto C site with rigorous pace, but the Astral Wall denying them the opportunity here. Slimy Boogerman, it has to be said, kind of have to throw everything at the wall that they've got to try and make this stick, and Suya nonetheless dashing through the gravity wells, takes down Welshie, and this, what could be a thrifty round in the cards for Slimy Boogerman. The odds continue to stack up against them as the spike goes down.
Spike gonna go down. They still have the Rolling Thunder. They could try to use it. They want to try to get some entryway into this site. Now it's gonna be Instinct to actually take down the one member. So now 3-on-5 situation. 3 of the players here from the boys gonna be stuck on by, close on Cat, but it's gonna be the Cypher that's gonna be Flya, but he's actually able to take down Dev. So a lot of exchanges back and forth, but it will be the boys to prevail. No stopping. It's a fatal blow. And now they keep things going further and further. 6-0, Dilly. We haven't seen Slimy Boogerman pull up around at all yet.
Yeah. Yeah. I gotta say, my heart hurts for Slimy Boogerman. I'm a big Slimy Boogerman fan. These guys, we've said, you know, we've had so many words to say about these guys. They've been a part of our scene for quite some time now. The first time they came out in the scene, first time they came into the VSS, I still remember having to cast for a team named the Slimy Boogerman. Of course, catches me off guard as Intox may catch Suya off guard here. Intox, oh, close to the double here. Won't be so lucky. They do have the edge. Do the Slimy Boogerman, the historic favorites here, struggling up against the boys, featuring 4 members of Akela Esports here, up 6-0. Slimy Boogerman gotta turn the tides here, and now Instinct gets the kill on a Frosty ZK. He's got Hydra for backup as well. Could this be the moment? Tetra dodging around the bullets, lives a bit longer than they may have wanted, but Hydra puts him down, and this almost assuredly is a first round for Slimy Boogerman.
I was getting a little excited, that trigger just went. I'm like, yeah, I like this play, and he's like, nah, I'm just gonna make it more of a BM moment. I mean, now they finally pick up a round from themselves. Slimy Boogerman, that's one of the most convincing rounds we saw from them. A lot of the rounds before, like we were talking about, it came right down to the 2vx situations, 1v1 situations, and here's the replay. You could just see, well, she's not expecting it at all. Only be able to pick 1 frag, but again, just kind of making a bit of a statement and just build that frustration a little bit more here for the defensive side.
Absolutely. Despite the round pickup, still some emotional wounds being inflicted by the side of the boys, being inflicted by Flya. Silver lining for the Slimy Boogerman is, could be this showstopper, and very much it is. That's Suya taken down by the showstopper from Instinct. The opening kill going over to the Slimy Boogerman. And I was going to say the silver lining for Slimy Boogerman is that they have more than tripped up Flya for this map, more so than they did in map 1, giving Flya 3 deaths. That is 3 more than Flya would have been used to in this series. And now with the edge, Slimy Boogerman could double their tally right here and now. Intox puts Flya into the ground, and the attack from the boys completely scattered.
Now, there's a lot of information being gained here from Slimy Boogerman. So they have their raise that's already pushed down into Cubby of Long C. So now they know that they have C possession, so the breach could fall back, put a little bit more emphasis towards B, or even put some tension towards A. But as soon as we see any utility being used, that should be the trigger for them to go for the rotate. And Dev, he falls early once again. And it is just going to be Intox that's supposed to be holding underneath the rafters, but he gets taken down in addition to that. So now it's a 3v2 situation, still in the player advantage here for Slimy Boogerman. Rolling Thunder going to be used, will actually deny the plant. So now 20 seconds to go. Well, she finds it and able to pick up another. So Slimy Boogerman is looking a little bit grim, but they pull it through, Dilly.
Cautious optimism from here on out for the Slimy Boogerman. That is a solid 2 rounds right in a row for the Slimy Boogerman, but they are going to need heaps more like it to have a chance, not only in this game, but in this series as well. Slimy Boogerman have really not had a solid grip on the narrative whatsoever, and now you see Welshi picking up the operator. That could be a turning point here. It's not as if Welshi has struggled to get going in this series, but that could be a big momentum builder for the whole team. We'll certainly keep our eyes peeled on that pickup, as now the boys very spread out across the map, but also very aggressive up A long. You see Instinct there pushing alongside Dev, looking for a challenge there. They won't be rewarded. Instead, it's going to be this garage to B play, potentially from the side of the boys. The boys certainly open to exploring new options here, as the Slimy Boogerman have thrown a bit of a wrench in their plans the last couple rounds.
Intox actually does get that exchange, so Cypher and Cypher will go in favor for the defensive side. Tektra now going to be able to push on through. Cosmic Divide used, so able to find one before he taken down, so gets a second chance at this. So he's been able to do his job. Spike not going to actually advance itself towards the site yet. They're actually going to push themselves back. They're not going to commit to it at all. They know they made a lot of statements, a lot of noise in that defensive side. You can see they've abandoned A. They just left it completely vacant here for the attackers, and now they should be able to have free reins of this if they can get there in time.
Does look like the boys will be able to get set up on A site. Slimy Boogerman aren't too far behind, but there's not much they can say about this through the smokes there that have been set up. Oh, I say that, but Hydra actually snipes down Brando. That is a big play for the breach now. A 4v3 for the defenders as the spike goes down. That is a big shift in the momentum, a big change in the landscape, and there is even further change. Well, she snipes down Tetra. This is big for the Slimy Boogerman. Now just one member remaining. It's all up to Suya to try and clutch this for the boys to try and re-extend their lead, but the walls are closing in. Suya picks up the double kill. That's all they'll get. Hydra mows them down through the smoke. Slimy Boogermen get their third round in the board, cutting their deficit right in half.
Triumphant effort that came in from Suya, and if you would have had just a second longer, could have been able to get out of that situation. Reposition. You saw the Blade Storm actually was used, so disposal, and it's a very good way for Slimy Boogerman to avoid that in later rounds. So now, I mean, we're at 6-3. I mean, the chances that we'll see it again are going to be slim unless Suya absolutely pops off. But I mean, right now we're noticing Slimy Boogerman, they're doing the exact same thing that we saw before on this map, but the boys. So taking a little bit of the out of their playbook and momentum term of things, and now things are going to be tested once more. Well, she does have the op in hand, which isn't typical what we see on an agent like this, but definitely not the wrong play. And Brando already getting a lot of information that both agents are here.
Oh, wow. Frosty ZK getting aggressive with the Astra Blaze, but Brando snipes down Welshi with the Hunter's Fury. That's the operator off the board for the defenders. That's two members of the defending side off the board. Instinct getting some traction back, but not before Frosty ZK puts him down in the ground. The spike going down on C site. Oh my goodness, the boys, Slimy Boogerman trying to run away from this one, but the boys will not let them escape. That's the streak put down for the Slimy Boogerman, and now they've got to work themselves right back up again.
And this is, you know, we noticed this before, and the boys, they seem to have a lot of, you know, in the playbook, in the, we'll call it the Akela, quote unquote, playbook. I mean, they seem to, you know, have these executes and these setups that they, you know, just isolate the C site, and they get it quite convincingly. We're not noticing that, you know, there's a lot of issues for them. And now, I mean, they are going to switch things up. They are looking like they want to put their attention more towards A, but so far, that C site take has just been phenomenal.
Now, this is a bit of a different play than what we've seen from the boys here in this half. It's complete 5-person stack on the A side, and I think Slimy Boogerman are actually going to be kind of up to this because of how far they've pushed up that mid corridor as well as C long. So they could start closing in with a very serious flank if the boys are not careful. Clock taking down towards a minute here. They will start to pull the trigger on this execute. They've already got firm control of the site, but not before Intox takes down Suya. Here gets the action started. Brando trying to snipe out with those shock darts, sends out the recon bolt, and the recon bolt is destroyed there, not revealing anyone from Slimy Boogerman in a 5v4 retake situation as the spike goes down. Slimy Boogerman with the edge, but not with the control of the site. Do see the flank coming to fruition from Instinct, but he's gonna have to get a move on here if he wants to be effective, as now the walls closing in on the boys. They gotta fight themselves out of this corner. Can they do so? Tetra sending out the curveballs. Frosty gets the kill on the dev, brings us into the 4v4. Now the kill feed lighting up red and green. Intox picks up the triple kill. Now just Frosty remaining in the 1v3. Frosty picks up the double kill, will not find a third. Welshi puts down Frosty in a very important 4th round for the Slimy Boogerman as we close out the first half here of Game 2 of the Grand Finals here in the Valorant Sunday Showdown. Week number 50, the boys with that 1-0 lead over the Slimy Boogerman with a 7-round to 4-round lead here in Game 2 over the Slimy Boogerman. It is all on the Slimy Boogerman now to win this half, win this map, and survive in this series.
About there.
Slimy Boogerman now, I mean, they're starting to get a little bit more of their rhythm. 7-4, last round we go for before switching things over. And their retakes, they've been able to just retake into these sites very well. Whereas before we saw that was a bit of a problem for them on map number 1. Their post plants and those retake situations just weren't working out at all. But now things are definitely changing. Cosmic Divide going to be used here from Slimy Boogerman. So that cuts off so much of the map. So much real estate is now blocked off, which makes it even more difficult for the boys to go back to the bread and butter play, go for that seat see sight take, and now they're gonna have to wait things out. I mean, they used it very early, so the timer will definitely deplete well before the clock does, but now they're just completely gonna wait things out. We can already see the Slimy Boogerman. They're definitely bleeding slick.
Oh, well, she with the trigger discipline takes down Suya, takes down Tetra as well with the swing. That is Slimy Boogerman getting themselves a solid edge here as the clock winds down on the attack. They are running out of options to try and win this round. You can see the boys scrambling a bit, and meanwhile, the Slimy Boogermen have completely fallen back to the back corners of the map. They're not wanting to challenge any of these angles, and for good reason. Instinct with the judge and the showstopper. Here it comes. The showstopper takes down Brando. That is disaster for the boys. That's the spike out of their hands as well. They got to pick that back up. Flya, though, still going. Flya picks up the double kill, now on the lurk for the triple kill. Hydra's got to be especially careful here. Here comes Flya, picks up Dev, so close to the quadra kill. Frosty ZK takes down Instinct. Frosty ZK takes down Hydra. That's the boys wrapping up the first half. 8-4. Goodness gracious. What a play from the attackers.
I'm gonna say it before, and I'm gonna say it again. Flya, you know, I'm gonna save it. There's a replay here, and this actually works out well. Flya, look at this, holding 1, holding 2, and let's make it 3 if I can. No, you know what? I'll just fall back. But the way that he plays this is so well. I mean, the fact that he just plays so aggressive and gets these exchanges, he is one of those players, in my opinion, that in this Valorant Sunday Showdown, every single time we see him, he just pulls up the biggest plays, and we're just seeing him increase his skill set more and more. And look at that confidence. The fact that he single-handedly put that round into his own hands so that his teammates can pull things back through. That is something unheard of. That is something we don't always see. And already now the boys, they're feeling all the confidence in the world after that.
Flya's play in that situation, and I'm glad you touched on it, that is not something you can teach. That is instinctual after hours and hours of experience in these situations, knowing when to peek, when to not. Can they get it done again? Oh, well, she peeks around the corner, so close to coming up big, but it's all just green. It's all coming up for the boys here, finding 3 kills to 1. Now Dev has a lot of work to do. The health bars are looking especially rough for the boys. They can be taken down. Will they be taken down? Tetra takes down Dev. Now just Intox remaining with all kinds of work to do here. Takes down Flya. Won't find another. Frosty ZK with a cool, calm, confident, and collected pistol round for the side of the boys.
Already now we see Frosty going to be on top of the scoreboard, 14-6. Tetra going to be 14-10. Fly, I mean, he's not the top fragger, but like we were talking about, when we talk about frags in certain situations, there's always those impacts. And even just being able to pick up those 1 or 2 or finding the right person at the right time can just completely shift the game. And like we were talking about, definitely Flya, that's something you can't teach, and that's something that you just have to develop over time. And like we saw or said, that's what you've seen so much here at the Valorant Sunday Showdown so far, as we've already done 50 weeks of it. And now Slimy Boogerman, they're going to be trying to pull something here. They're going to ruffle something in the feathers. They need to make something work in their favor. 9-4, the boys, they're slowly getting close to that double-digit point, which could potentially lead into that sweep, Dylan.
This very well could be a 2-0 sweep for the side of the boys. We waited to speak it into existence, but now its existence may be well undeniable. Suya picks up the opening kill onto Welshi. Instinct there, fishing for a kill, catches a big one, takes down Tetra. So still a 4v4 here for the Slimy Boogerman. Brando still alive on the flank here. Saving that recon pull here. Flya, meanwhile, pushes down through heaven. Oh, Flya, it's almost too easy with the flash from the teammates here. Oh my goodness. The janitorial service has arrived. The boys mopping up A site.
The coordination that we talked about here, I mean, it almost looks like something that Akella would do. But anyways, a really nice retake situation, a lot of coordination, which, you know, we didn't really see a lot of that before on the retake situations before, but now we're definitely starting to see, you know, more of that cohesion as a unit. That we're definitely noticing that they're able to pull things through together as a unit. And now they put themselves at double digits, so they're only 3 rounds away from taking this series to a 2-0. But still, Slimy Boogerman, they're going to be able to put money in the board. They're going to be able to put those rifles. But look at their players. 3 of them have to go for light armor. So no players on their squad are going to be able to heal each other. So there's no Sage or anything like that. So HP and being careful is all importance here.
Oh, look at Suya. Suya is not interested in being careful. Suya looking to put the pedal to the metal. Suya pulls the trigger, won't find anything. It's Instinct who picks up the triple kill. That is monumental for the Slimy Boogerman. Intox takes down Brando. This is almost certainly the Slimy Boogerman putting up a 5th round on the board. Flya would have to simply ace from this position. Picks up the first kill, won't find a second. Dev with a solidly placed shock dart picks up the 5th round for Slimy Boogerman. They've got wind in their sails, yet they've got air in their lungs still. Slimy Boogerman trying to fight for survival here in game 2, half 2 on Haven.
Now the tail of the tape, this is going to be it. So full purchase coming in from the boys. If they lose this round, again, it affects their economy. The Slimy Boogerman, we can see with them able to pick up this round, they should be able to pull things back through the second round if they don't go, or if the round does not go in their favor. Right now, we're seeing they're still playing quite aggressive, or they're trying to at least at long A, but now they're going to have to fall back completely. Slimy Boogerman putting a lot of their resources inside of A main. They haven't been able to get out yet, but now they finally do. And you could already see 2 players still in the back of sight, so they weren't able to play as close as they wanted to. And even now, they've completely depleted B. They're not even going to look at it at all. So they just have a 3-2 split out of the 3 sites on this map.
Tetra playing back of sight here, has all kinds of backup though. Suya, you can see pushed up towards A short. Tetra now able to take a more aggressive angle as a result of the support that Brando is putting up there in Heaven. This is a solid lockdown on the A site, and you have to wonder if maybe Slimy Boogerman will consider the B site. They are running out of time to make that decision. They're chopping their feet around these A corridors, so they're gonna have to pull the trigger sooner rather than later. You see Instinct pushing up A short. That's gonna have to be the crux of the play here for Slimy Boogerman, fighting for survival here in Grand Finals. The recon bolt smoked out by Suya. Suya, Blade Storm in hand, goes for the peak. Neither Instinct or Suya able to land their respective shots. Suya staying alive, pushes forward, takes down Dev. Oh my goodness, Instincts will get the trade there. The 1-for-1 here is Slimy Boogerman now in a 4v3. They will get the spike down as the clock ticks down. Now 3 defenders remaining, but they are 3 healthy defenders. They are 3 defenders looking for the kill. Flya finds it onto Instinct, but Welshie finds the trade onto Frosty ZK. Instinct is now vulnerable on that site. Welshie on the flank takes down Flya, but Brando finds the trade, and I think Brando just stays alive here for this one, and that is Slimy Boogerman successfully handling the threat of the boys retake, if you will.
Lot of individual play, a lot of colors going back and forth. And Slimy Boogerman, they survive it. They keep it going. So now they're going to be able to get their 6th round. They should be able to both survive in time, being able to transition those rifles into the next round, and even as well for the Sover from the boys, that is going to be able to be saved in addition. So we'll see the money situation here momentarily, where the boys want to see if they're going to be able to have enough investment. But no, it's going to be, do they either want to work around this, go for the force purchase potentially, or do they want to just kind of float that rifle around? That's kind of a, you know, used to be called the old emo buy essentially, but I mean, this is a moment where you try your best to either, you know, force up and work around it, or just kind of have a hybrid setup, you know, just with the pistols. So that looks like that's what they're going to go for at this moment. But now all more pressure here for Brando to make something big happen with that rifle.
Yeah, now this is a pivotal moment for the boys. If they let Slimy Boogerman continue to build upon this momentum, it very well could get out of control for the boys to try and deal with here on Haven. They are on the disadvantaged side, the defending side here on Haven. Not always the case in a Valorant map. Most of these maps quite even, 50-50 statistically right down the line of attacker or defender favored. Haven is not so. These 3 sites are so difficult for defenders to try and keep a lid on, and you can see the boys, as good as they are, struggling to keep up their perfect ways, even though they've done so well up until this point. It is that difficult here on this side of the map. Suya there just taking a big risk because there's simply no other play to make. Suya loses out here. Brando will duck away from any sort of challenge here, as now the Slimy Boogerman in a 5v4 take control of A site.
Tetra going to be able to find the one, so Spike's still going to get planted here now, so we'll get planted a 4-on-4 situation. They still have that one rifle to work around. That is Brando that's holding it here for the boys. They might have been able to pick up this other one. I don't believe they were able to be that close enough. So two players going to be playing on top of Raptor. They're trying to get this trade on Dev, but he's going to be able to prevail. He's going to be able to take down two, and now Tetra by himself, Sheriff in hand. And at this moment, this is about just making noise. This is about distracting these players. See what he can find at all. Might be able to pick up a rifle. No, it's going to be Welshie now to bring up the 7th round. So getting closer and closer to a tie game we go. And now another big test. Money is spent for the op. We see Suya once again with the operator in hand. Light armor. A bit of a compromise here for the purchase, as now it's 5,000.
Suya there has... Suya, am really impressed in the semifinals matchup for the boy. For the boys, rather, was massively impressive in game 1. Here in game 2, Suya has struggled a bit to get going, not as high of a KDA as we've come to expect from the Jet extraordinaire, but Suya's had these valleys before, and what gets Suya going again is the operator, finding those confidence picks, finding those opening picks with the operator. That is what it builds the momentum for Suya, and once the momentum is built for Suya, you better get out of Suya's way, because you will be taken down. And Suya, you can see, so aggressive on this A short angle. That is very aggressive for an operator, if you ask me. And so in response, Slimy Boogerman taking all of their resources, putting them all towards the C side of the map. There goes the galactic wall from the side of Welshie. Here comes the execute. Tetra sends out the curveball, but the push hasn't come yet, so Tetra takes all of this real estate, and Frosty ZK actually gets the opening kill. This may not be good news for the Slimy Boogerman. It's all falling apart for the Slimy Boogerman as Frosty ZK picks up the double kill, and now they are scattering away, but they're gonna walk right into the waiting clutches of Suya. Suya can't get that first shot, and now has to scramble back to the A site, and you see the rotate coming in for the boys as the clock ticks down to 30 seconds. A big wall in the face of the Slimy Boogerman that they're gonna have to push right on through, and they do. They mow down Suya, they mow down Flya. The tide has shifted once more. 3-on-3 as the clock ticks down to 20 seconds. Tetra up and Hydra finds the spray onto Hydra, sends out the curveball. Dev now challenging, has to get the spike down. The clock working against the Slimy Boogerman now. A 3v2 as the spike goes down.
Spike planted now, 3 players remaining here. They're going to be able to find the one, all down to Dev. He only takes one before he falls to the grave, and the boys now prevail and pick up their 11th round. But we talk about the positioning, we talk about those critical moments. Suya was waiting, just waiting to cherry pick, misses that cherry, has to go back 3 positions, and then 2 of them fall as they were both in the wrong position at the wrong time. And it was looking like Slimy Boogerman were able to maybe slither their way, or, you know, be slimy and find their way of picking up an 8th round. But instead, the boys, they do pull it up. Very, very sketchy, but it is going to do.
Absolutely, and now the boys, once again, 2 rounds away from a winning round. This time would be in game 2, would be a match-winning round this time around. The Rolling Thunder coming through very early from Hydra is going to open the door into Garage, but there's the hot hands right in the way, edging away the members of Slimy Boogerman, but the execute coming through very successfully. Frosty ZK, though, still very much alive on site, could get some more damage done, but Intox deals with both Frosty and Tetra, and now a 4v2. The Slimy Boogerman, they ain't done yet. Suya gets a kill on the Intox, cheeky push through the cage. That's all they'll find here, and Slimy Boogerman strike right back.
Through all the carnage, through all the action, now Slimy Boogerman, they reply back in the money situation once again. I mean, you have 2 of the players that could go for it, but I mean, their money system, it's shambles. There's just nothing to work with. And I feel like that's been the biggest highlight here from the boys on their defensive side, is that they just never seem to have the money in the bank that they need to pull things back in their favor. So right now, the test is going to be, like I said, do you work around those 1 or 2 rifles, or do you just try something a little bit lighter? But it does look like they purchased the 1, so they're going to go back for what they tried before. And even Suya does have the Bladestorm, puts it to work, gets the head of Instinct, taking down their duelist. And that actually was the showstopper as well. So that's a good pickup for them in terms of just lacking that ultimate utility.
You can never count out Suya. Suya now on 13 kills, once was 11 not too long ago. Now looking for a second in this round. Welshi, I can't believe it! Welshi, so unlucky with the timing there. Loses out to Suya. Hydra is there for the backup to prevent a Suya triple kill, but a double kill is damaging all the same here. A 3v3 now as the spike moves its way towards A site. The Slimy Boogermen are not out of the woods yet. They still got to deal with a very dangerous The Boys retake, despite the no armor, despite just the sheriffs here. There is still a decent amount of kit available for these defenders. Brando sending out the recon drone to do some of the heavy lifting here, spots out Dev, and Dev is gonna have to reposition off the back of that, loses out to Tetra, now a 3v2. Again, remember, the boys started out here on the Thrifty. Can they get themselves on the match point on the Thrifty? Frosty ZK looking to say yes! Oh my goodness, the boys!
Oh my goodness.
It doesn't matter what guns you give them, they still get the job done. The boys moving out onto match point here in grand finals, VSS week number 50.
Now put themselves on match and series point. The boys 1 round away from taking this thing home, a 2-0 sweep, and now more pressure on the board here for Slimy Boogerman. This is just about survival. This is about just staying alive as much as possible to push that overtime. Definitely not out of the woods yet here for the boys, but boy, they're feeling really good right now. We've seen them handle this pressure, and now all the pressure is going to be built up for them. And I don't even know what the play is. They have 1 ultimate available for themselves. They do have the showstopper as well as the neuro theft on the side of Slimy Boogerman. So we would anticipate to see that showstopper try and potentially stop the show here from the boys.
It all comes down to this for the Slimy Boogerman. This is do or die round. This is as do or die as it gets here. They do have 2 ultimates in the pocket, but Tetra has the run it back as well. They want to get right up in the grill of the Slimy Boogerman. Tetra can do so. Looking for the peak here on A site. Does look like the Slimy Boogerman putting all of their eggs into the A basket here for this 21st round. But they're playing it slow. They're playing it careful, and careful they have to be. Brando waiting in this short corridor could pull the rug out from under their feet if they're not careful. They've got to play these angles exactly right. Intox has an inkling, has an idea. Oh no, Intox, where are you gonna be looking? Oh my goodness, Brando does get the kill, but Intox trades them out, and now Tetra looking for a bit of revenge with that run it back, pushes forward. Here comes the A execute from the Slimy Boogerman. It very well could all come down to this. The Slimy Boogerman out onto site, getting the spike down. The showstopper actually misses from the side of Instinct, so that's gone away. No longer do the boys have to worry about any ultimates, and now they can just get on with it. Instinct trapped there in that corner, still gets the kill on Asuya. Frosty ZK picks up Intox. Hydra takes down Frosty ZK, and Flya picks up the double kill. It's all down to Welshi in the 1v2 for the Slimy Boogerman's tournament life, but the defuse is just getting stuck. Flya's just gonna stick the defuse. That's the game.
No!
GG, the boys are your week number 50 Valorant Sunday Showdown champions.
Oh my goodness. You could just see again, Flya and his teammates, they just push on through. And that's what I was talking about when you're Astra. You absolutely need to stay alive. You're pretty much in the back of the pack the entire time, but a bit too far back. Welshi so far away, was not expecting his teammates not to pick up any frags at all, and that just completely caught him off guard. His positioning was so wrong, made it such an easy defuse, but congratulations to the boys. A huge victory in terms of how this has been. It's been an absolute roller coaster. We weren't sure which way things were going to go, but boy, oh boy, they pull in a 2-0 sweep, which we don't typically see all the time here at the VSS. and I'm excited to see who the MVP is. And I feel like I know who it is, but I definitely don't want to say the wrong thing here.
Absolutely. We'll let the mathematicians handle all of the MVP discussion. Now the discussion settles squarely on the shoulders of the boys, perhaps looking to fill the shoes of a certain Pug Stars who have made their way through the ranks of VSS past. Now the boys have shown up to fill that void. They take down the Slimy Boogermen, who are no slouch in terms of an opponent, a tougher opponent rather, you would have trouble finding. Definitely massive credit to the Slimy Boogerman, especially where they started the Slimy Boogerman. I've seen so much improvement of their polish and how they move around the map, how they approach the game. But the boys, they came handy with that playbook that we may not name to save them a bit of trouble. I'm going to say it's the Akella Esports playbook the boys were bringing to the table, and that is a darn good playbook.
Yeah, we saw before, the map number one, it was looking like they weren't using anything. And then all of a sudden, the IGL is like, you know what, guys, I think I know a thing or two here, and I'm just going to try something out of this little book I got. And now the MVP coming in Flya. I was definitely anticipating Flya to be the MVP, but it is now 100% confirmed. Your HyperX MVP, Flya, congratulations with an average combat score of 251. Huge props. Like we were saying, couldn't have gone any other way, I think. And we can already see some replays here. And this is one of the big plays, especially in map 2, where he just completely puts this round into his own, picking up 2 here. And then eventually he falls back, able to get this triple. But again, this puts a lot of caution here for Slimy Boogerman. You could tell. And he takes down one more before he falls. And then Frosty just has an easy pickup. But either way, my goodness, Dilly, I'm speechless.
Yeah, that was even though it was only 2 matches, it was exhausting. It was so exciting from the boys. They, like you said, they hadn't even really opened the playbook in the first half of game 1. They were just throwing whatever they had at the wall, seeing what stick. And that was so exciting to watch. I'm so excited to see if the boys make a return here for week 51. Fingers crossed. Definitely looking to see this roster again, because I have to say, it is so exciting to see the Akella Esports roster with Suya in their fold. No disrespect to whomever on Akella Suya may have been replacing to fill out this Pug squad, but Suya was so good in so many pivotal moments. Not always the top fragger, but when it really came down to it, Suya was up for the challenge again and again and again, which was just so exciting. Massive respect to the side of the boys. They are your Valorant Sunday Showdown week number 50 champions, and that does it for week number 50 of the Valorant Sunday Showdown. It has been an epic, wild ride and journey here, all the way from the beginning of this beautiful game we call Valorant to where we are now. We've been with you guys the entire step, or all of the steps of the way. And then we just have to say a very heartfelt and genuine thank you to everyone that's tuned into our streams, everyone that likes our tweets, sends us little replies, and a big thank you to every 320 players that come out every single week, making up the 64 teams that we are lucky to put their talents on display every single Sunday. We are so thankful for the community that's building up around us, and we do this all for you guys. Thank you so much for all of your support, and here's to 50 more weeks of the Valorant Sunday Showdown. My name's Dilly G. This has been Laz alongside me. Laz, any parting words for the ladies and gentlemen back home?
No, definitely wanted to say thanks again to everybody for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed the show, and I know we both did, of course. And yeah, huge congrats, of course, to the boys, but thank you so much to all the supporters. Without your support, we wouldn't be here today. We're on 50 weeks, like Dilly said. We're definitely hoping to make it, easily 50 more so that we can hit the big 100. But without your support, we wouldn't be here. So thank you so much to everybody, and congrats again to Flya for the MVP HyperX Awards. So make sure to reach out to us. But otherwise, I think that's going to be it. Our socials. Make sure to say hi. And we'll see you guys next time.
We